contracts. You got Doxson who can play, okay, and he's got skills and a tremendous upside. The future could potentially be bright. Matt Jones showed us something against the Philadelphia Eagles. I like this brother. Defensively, even though they've been struggling a little bit, you got Kerrigan and the crew. They can do some things. They can get at a quarterback. And, of course, there's the great Jay Gruden, because we know he's great just by his name alone. Let's be clear about that. We know that he's great. It takes time out of his busy schedule to comment about me. You know, I think it was very, very unfair. This guy has no clue about how hard we're working. Who gives a damn about hard work? It's results. We assume, far be it for me, that Ryan, am I wrong in assuming that NFL players automatically work hard? I'm assuming that you work hard. I'm assuming that you're putting forth the max effort. That's what we're getting on me about now? Oh, he doesn't know how hard we work. I know you haven't been to a Super Bowl since 1991. I understand that. I think that when we're talking about that, we're going to talk about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys and how they ever won a Super Bowl since 1995. How did we let this fly over our head that the Redskins hasn't been to a Super Bowl since 1991? And then after all that noise, you made adopting the victim's mentality, talking about how dare he say such a thing. You go out and lose to the Detroit Lions? Now, don't make me wrong. I think Coach Caldwell's doing a good job with them right now.
They're on the come up.
Stafford is balling. They're on the come up. There is no Megatron, but I'm going to repeat, there's no Megatron. There's no Megatron. So Matthew Stafford connected with Anquan Bolden. Love Anquan, no doubt. How old is he? I mean,
you're younger than me.
He's gonna be here soon. You understand what I'm saying? He's going to be working on television soon, someday in the future. I mean, it ain't like he's a young stud on the come-up now, and that's who beat y'all for the game-winning touchdown. I'm just saying, Redskins.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
You and I don't agree a lot on this show,
right.
But we agree about this. Whenever I hear a coach or a player talking, like objecting to some kind of criticism based on the fact that they work hard, dummies, it's only relative to who you're playing, right? So, yeah, you're a great football team, but by NFL standards, you're a middle-of-the-pack football team. You work hard, but if that's the point, to go at someone's criticism, then what you are implicitly saying, that means for the people who make this point and don't understand it, implicitly means you're saying it without saying it, but that's really what you mean. What you're saying is that you work harder than everyone else, or else what's the point in saying you work hard? It's just, it's only relative to the other teams. So you're saying you work harder than the Giants, than the Cowboys, and then the Eagles? Is that what you're saying? Because if not, you're mediocre. That's okay. In the NFL, it's worse things than being mediocre. You're in the middle of the pack. You have a shot at the playoffs. You're 4-3, and you do have a win against the Giants, who are also 4-3, but that win could have easily gone the other way, just like your loss to the Cowboys could have easily gone the other way. Washington has certainly, and I won't even say their name, I think it's an offensive name, by the way, but Washington has certainly...
You've been consistent about that.
It's offensive. Washington has certainly been a normal kind of NFL team and has done nothing to distinguish themselves in a suddenly underrated maybe NFC East going into the season. Everyone's laughing at the NFC East. Maybe it's the best or second best division as it turns out in football at the moment. Okay, fine. There are worse things to be, but to react that way over criticism where someone correctly points out you ain't special, you haven't distinguished yourself, is ridiculous.
Well, listen, I caught it this week on Twitter thanks to you guys, right? Because it was like, hey, Ryan, why aren't you defending us? Why aren't you saying? So I said, first of all,
you said Stephen A's right.
Well, what I said was, last time I checked, when two men have a disagreement, men disagree. I said, but if they ask me on TV, I'll talk about it. So when you talk about the Washington Redskins, when you say they are who we thought they were, it just all depends on who you thought they were. If you thought they were a pretty good football team, a football team that could go 9-7, a football team that maybe ekes out a 10-6 record, then you were right. I don't think it's a bad football team. I think it's a football team that can be competitive. The issue with what you were saying was when you start talking about what people say in the tunnel and the way they feel, it seemed like they were saying more than just we won today over the Philadelphia Eagles. It seemed like they were talking about history. So when you talk about the history of this team, especially recent history, it's nothing to boast about. It's nothing to scream about in the tunnel. Now, you know Bake. just as well as I do.
Good dude.
And so Bake is excitable. If you watch him, he's the big dude. You know, he dances. He gets the crowd hype. So he was doing what he does in keeping everybody upbeat about the positive things going on in Washington. And there are some positive things. But this game told me about the Detroit Lions, right? If you look at Matthew Stafford, he said in the offseason, we may be better offensively without Calvin Johnson. I may be better. And he is, because now he spreads the ball around. Josh Norman gets hurt. Marvin Jones makes some big catches. He had the one big catch on him on which he got hurt on. The Washington Redskins are a team that, if they play really well finishing out, they may finish second in the NFC East. If they play about what I think they were, they'll finish right behind Dallas and Philadelphia. This city loves that team. That's why they hate you right now.
Well, listen, they're going to continue to hate me if they continue to lose, because I ain't going to let up. They brought the attention on themselves. They got it.
Well, you got to realize they got Vikings, Packers, Cowboys.
Good luck with that.
Coming up.
But here's the deal. This is how stupid it got in the nation's capital. You actually had people that were accusing me like, what you going to do? You going to fight Baker? Excuse me? Me? Have you seen the size on that boy? It's just nonsense. We were talking about debating one another about the Redskins. That's all it was. So it's all in fun. And by the way, Baker is a good dude, married to a wonderful young lady who used to work here, who are friends with all of us. We got nothing but love for the Baker household. So it's just nonsense. We're just talking about football. But at the end of the day, hold on. At the end of the day, guys, it comes down to this. Y'all, it wasn't just about dancing, whatever. Collectively, they're acting like there's something more than they were to me. And all I'm saying is, you got to win these games, and you got to do something more than what you did.
But life is about perspective, right?
Sure.
It's about perspective. So if you're 9-7, or in that situation, if you're 4-2 and you just beat the Eagles, the team that everybody was talking about before their 2 losses to Detroit and Washington, you feel good because you got to think about where you came from. Right? So in Gruden's first year, you go 4-12, and now you win the NFC East, and you've started the season 0-2, and you run off 4 straight. That is a good start to a season. That is a perspective-wise for those people. You have now won 4 games in a row and beat the team everyone was presuming was going to run away with the NFC East. So if you think about where they were and where they come, they're much more competitive than they were.
When you're telling their story, you can do it that way. Or you can tell the story of the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford, who, by the way, you know, after looking like a top 5 talent at the position for years and years, maybe he didn't have the arm talent. He had the arm strength, but maybe not the talent to get it done, even though he put up big numbers. Over the last year now, I would say, full season, if you take the second half of last season and the first half so far, he is balling. And maybe it's not the story of Washington. Maybe it's the story of the Detroit Lions. If you look at Stafford, NFL ranks in pass completion percentage, passing yards, yards per attempt, yards per dropback. He's top 10 in everything, top 5 in a bunch.
Boy, that's his 24th game-winning drive as well, though.
In the fourth quarter.
He likes it there.
Last point. Washington Redskins, I think they're a very, very talented bunch who can make some noise in the NFC. I don't believe their target should be just about the NFC East. That's why I said, what have you done? You understand? And yes, I'm assuming, because you're running into the tunnel, I wasn't there. Of course I'm assuming. Who the hell doesn't know I'm assuming? I'm on national television. They're at the game. Okay? Of course I'm assuming, based on your reactions, that you're making something more out of nothing. That's my belief. I believe they should be better than what they are, but I also believe they're allergic to prosperity, which is why they are not.
We will leave it there. Ryan, you'll be back with us a little later in the show. But
yes, he will be.
Yeah.
He's got some explaining to do. And I want to see how tough he's going to be on one of his former teams. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
I'll be waiting.
I thought you'd be in a good mood.
I'll be waiting. Oh, I've been waiting for this.
Ryan with a crispy lineup today.
Starts tomorrow when we come back. Cleveland, join Stephen A. on the road tomorrow at Town Hall Restaurant for a live broadcast of First Take. We're celebrating the Indians in the World Series and the Cavs ring ceremony on opening night for the champs. It's going to be special. We'll have special guests, but none more special than one Stephen A. and giveaways. Doors open at 8 a.m., so come down, represent the land with Stephen A. and First Take. Meanwhile, the NBA season on ESPN tips off Wednesday with a doubleheader at 8. It's the Thunder taking on the Sixers. Then at 10:30, the Lakers host the Rockets. Coverage of opening night begins with NBA Countdown charged by Dew. That is at 7. But now we're talking a little baseball. Fun time of year for sports fans. The postseason struggles continued for Clayton Kershaw after he gave up 4 earned runs in 7 innings and took the loss at Los Angeles. He was ousted from the playoffs by the Cubs. In 5 career postseason starts when facing elimination, he's allowed at least 5 runs in 3 of them. Kershaw is in the middle of a 7-year, $215 million deal. Is he worth the money, Stephen A?
No, he is not. And what I would say to you is I want to be very respectful about what I'm saying. Clayton Kershaw is one of the best. Clayton Kershaw is sensational. This is no knock against him. A matter of fact, I think that if you're looking at things from an analytical perspective, a legitimate argument could be made he's every bit as formidable in the postseason as he is in the regular season. Now, obviously, you look at an ERA at a little over 2.3 during the regular season, that balloons to over 4.5 in the postseason. You understand that, but you also understand the pressure that comes along with it. You look at certain different things, and you understand that he is still formidable. He is big time. But the reason why I don't feel that way is because I don't believe at 7 years and $215 million, a dude that shows up to work once every 5 days is worth that kind of cash. As important as pitching is in the baseball, and I know you know your baseball, Max, as important as pitching is to the sport of baseball, I don't believe any pitcher is worth that amount of money because you can't stop the bleeding unless there are rare exceptions. The rare exception would be Madison Bumgarner. It wouldn't be Clayton Kershaw. Because what you see from Clayton Kershaw, even despite his greatness, somehow, some way, when it comes to the Dodgers, he can't stop the bleeding. I remember seeing Madison Bumgarner in the World Series against Kansas City a couple of years back. I remember seeing him not once, not just twice, but also how he came in the game in like the 4th or 5th inning and ended up closing the deal on like 2 days rest or a day's, whatever it was at that particular moment in time. Maybe Dave Roberts should have utilized Clayton Kershaw a little bit better. Maybe he should have had him, you know, for game 5, and therefore he could have been ready for a potential game 7. I don't know, but I will say this. When it comes to the Dodgers, they've been in the postseason 4 straight years. 4 straight years they've gone home. They haven't won the pennant. They're not World Series champions. And when I'm looking at a guy, regardless of his greatness, because in no way am I questioning the greatness of Clayton Kershaw, I'm just talking about what you're worth. I have to believe that you can deliver the goods in such a way that it offsets and negates what I'm lacking. Madison Bumgarner has shown evidence that he's capable of doing that for his team more than Clayton Kershaw has shown he's done for the Dodgers, and that is why I say it's not worth it.
You said a lot there. I'm going to respond to it. It's going to take a second.
Sure.
First of all, he is worth the money. Let's start with that. He is worth the money because Kershaw is not just among the best. He's among the best who ever lived in the regular season.
Agreed.
In the regular season, and he is clearly and by far twice as good as the next guy in baseball right now. Like, he led the league, he led the National League in ERA 4 straight years. Last year, he didn't do it. He led the league in complete games, innings pitched, strikeouts, and fielding independent. You know, how if you take the defense out of it, how good is he?
Yeah.
He's the best, okay? That's 5 years. That's a prime unlike anyone's ever had practically. Sandy Koufax had that kind of prime. But, of course, Sandy Koufax elevated in the postseason. And now this gets me to where I want to go in terms of the clutch argument with Kershaw. You're right. Bumgarner is a clutch pitcher. Listen, for the sabermetrics crowd is like, oh, there's no such thing as clutch. I've been reading Bill James since 1986. Yes, there is, back off. You know, yes, there is such thing as clutch. Kurt Schilling, El Duque, Valenzuela, Bumgarner, they all had a certain level, which was very high to varying degrees, and elevated under pressure. Yes, they did. Some guys by reputation did, but in fact didn't. Jack Morris, Andy Pettitte, they had some good games, some bad games. They basically stayed the same guy. And when you're good and you stay the same guy, you get credit. That's not Kershaw. Kershaw's the best, and under pressure in the postseason, he falls off. Now, is he a bum? No, he's not a bum. Neither was Roger Clemens or Greg Maddux, who both fell off in the postseason compared to their regular season stats. And this gets
at times.
Yeah, overall.
We're waiting for that moment for Kershaw, though. We're waiting for
Kershaw pitches you into the postseason.
Yes.
You can replace him with another ace, not just a regular an ace. You might not make the postseason. He's that much better than another ace. When the chips are on the line, he hasn't been good. Dante's Inferno. I quoted Raekwon and Jay-Z in the last couple segments ago. Now I'm going to tell you about Dante's Inferno. He was roasting his political adversaries in one of the great works of literature, and he had his Inferno, where the various sins get punished in hell, levels 1 through 7. So now I have Max's Inferno of clutch. Okay? You have the highest level, which is Mariano Rivera or Michael Jordan. You are the best who ever did it, and under pressure, you get even.